Hey, we got Rob Proctor from Fleetworthy Solutions here. We do. There he is. Hey, Rob, how's it going?
I'm good. That was different. I don't think I've ever heard somebody say that they sleep with an alligator before. So learned something new today.
It sounds dangerous. I wonder. I don't know. That's disconcerting. I don't think it would be that cuddly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, hey, well, wait. Do you? Before we get into CSA scores, do you have an emotional support animal?
I don't. No, I just have my Green Bay Packers, which disappointed me last night. So I'm emotionally bruised at this time.
Yeah, that was a rough game, man. The only good thing about it was my son's birthday this morning, so I was able to go to bed early because the game was over by like halftime, basically.
That was brutal. Yeah, thanks for the reminder. I got better news though. My boy Justin Timberlake released a new song with NSYNC today, so I'm feeling pretty good about that.
Oh wow! It's the guys in our control room were talking about that. They're super excited about the new record by J Tim over there. Let's talk about CSA scores though. So let's start at let's do a little one-on-one. What's the basic methodology behind CSA scores?
Yeah, so I mean, if anybody really wants to, bore themselves to sleep if they don't have an alligator with them, you can actually download the FMCSA CSA basics. It's 76 pages, so there's a lot in there. And basically, what you're looking at, no pun intended, is 7 different factors that you can get measured by. That's inclusive of unsafe driving, crash indicator, hours of service, vehicle maintenance, controlled substances, alcohol, hazardous materials, and then driver fitness. So there's several different scores that go into grading you as a motor carrier to determine whether or not you're safe or unsafe. And each one of those factors have different, what's the wording I'm trying to use here? Like violations that could be as little as just a 0 point, or it could be a 10-point type violation that in terms of severity by each basic. So anytime that you put a driver on the road and you have the side of your truck marked with your DOT, if they get into a roadside inspection, if they find something that isn't either compliant or considered to be unsafe, you get marked off. Get enough of those and you could end up in an intervention process. And at that point, you may need to consult with somebody to get prepared for an audit or otherwise. The biggest thing that we can recommend here at Fleetworthy that our clients or any motor carrier does is make sure that you have all of your documents and your files really in a centralized location so that you have access to them 24/7, 365, whether it's a driver qualification management program, hours of service or otherwise, because again, those are the things that will lead into the audit and whether or not you're going to come out of there unscathed. The biggest thing also is make sure that you're hiring safe drivers when you're doing the qualification process behind it, because they will come and look at you and look at your unsafe drivers in the event that something like that happens.
Now, is there a crash preventability? Are there programs you can get into that can help improve these scores? How does that work?
Yeah, so let's say that you have some either violations that went against you or you got into an accident. And, believe it or not, there's about 180,000 per the FMCSA, 180,000 accidents in a year, which breaks down to just about 50,000 in a quarter. So there's a process that goes into, if you get into an accident, submitting that to the FMCSA and then having them make a determination on was the accident preventable, and if yes, then you can have it at least marked off so you don't incur violation against your crash indicator, or if it was preventable, then you don't lose the violation. It used to be up until 2019, the FMCSA took every accident and didn't care whose fault it was and applied it against you. So one of the better things they've done over the course of the past 4 years is implemented this crash preventability determination program, which is an insane mouthful, but it's a very easy and simple process to follow. And they'll actually give you a play-by-play book to be able to help you determine whether A, it was preventable or not preventable, and B, how you submit it. So anytime you get into an accident, whether you consider it to be your fault or not, you need to submit it to the FMCSA along with the police report, and that'll help you get that wiped off of your record.
How does data Q factor into CSA scores?
Data Q is it's the antithesis of what I just described with the crash preventability determination. I mean, with the crash preventability, it's all like it's by the book. It's very clean cut what can and cannot be considered. Data Q, on the other hand, is something that you do want to submit in the event that you feel like the officer was doing one of two things: either A, misapplying the federal code and applying points in areas that they shouldn't have been applying points for based on the violation, or B, which happens more often, is stacking. where something is wrong, but then they'll stack different violations into that single instance, which could cause your CSA scores to spike within that specific basic. So with a data queue, it's a little bit different. You submit it the same way. It's actually through the FMCSA data queue portal, or what's called an RDR, or request for data review. But with a data queue, it's a little bit more convoluted because it goes to the authority that issued you your violation. So basically, you got to get them to admit that they did something wrong, and that doesn't always happen. Good news is that they are reviewing that, the FMCSA is, to determine whether or not the data queue process is actually effective. And then the appeals process, being reviewed by the same people that rejected it, will likely now go to an independent third party and or somebody else within the industry to do the review and make that application. But without the crash preventability determination program or data queues, you are stuck with what you get. So make sure you have somebody in your corner, whether it's a company like Fleetworthy Solutions or somebody internal that knows how to manage that and then make those requests for appeal when necessary.
Last question for you. How does CSA roadside inspections, what are the importance of those?
Yeah, so, roadside inspections can happen anywhere, whether it is, at a way station. It could be because you were randomly selected or you were doing something wrong on the road. Biggest thing is, just like with anybody, let's say that you get pulled over for any reason as a civilian and you're not operating a heavy equipment, you want to work with the officer. Don't be difficult, right? They're just doing their job. The biggest thing that you can do as a driver of any vehicle is be polite, courteous, smile. Like, there are things that can be much less painful for you if you acquiesce to what the officer is looking for. So if you're an operator of a commercial motor vehicle and you have a roadside inspection, you are required to submit that roadside inspection to your motor carrier within 24 hours of that inspection occurring. Good, bad, or ugly, they need to get a copy of it. And if you get put out of service, that motor carrier has 15 days to get that correction made to whatever violation was applied. Failure to do so could mark it up against you, and you are not able to put that vehicle back on the road, which takes money out of your pocket. You have enough of those bad roadside inspections, you get enough bad scores, you will have an intervention. And the FMCSA and the DOT are not friendly when it comes to doing reviews for safety. Their entire job and purpose is to make sure that our roadways are safe. And as a result of that, it could be very painful for you as a motor carrier. You could have fines and fees applied against you. We're already over $23 million in fiscal year 23, which is expensive. Back in 21, they actually had a motor carrier get hit for $12 million on a single investigation. That's what was settled. And that's not including all the other ones that get put out of business because they're unable to continue to operate. So all of the chain reaction that comes from a roadside, if you have bad roadside inspections and you're not doing your diligence on data queues and crash determination, you are going to be putting yourself behind the eight ball and at a lesser advantage than other companies within the industry.
All right. Well, that's a lot to be mindful of, Robert. People who need to read more about this, they didn't retain all this information. Where can I send them to?
Well, you can send them to fleetworthy.com. We have a team of experts here that are always available, whether you have questions regarding what your motor carrier basics look like, or if you need assistance with managing anything from your driver qualification files to your IRP and base plating, as well as your fuel tax management.
Cool. Hey, thank you very much, Robert, for helping us go beyond compliant. Enjoyed your time today. Take care, buddy.
Appreciate it.